Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books, what a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together, what a yummy snack. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading,
whenever
writing,
you guys are
teaching.
joining us for this episode of PBJamz, whether it be morning, noon, or night, or somewhere in between, we are super happy that you are here. And I am here with Philip, and I should have asked Phil, is it Hoelzel?
Hoelzel, yeah.
Oh,
Hoelzel
nice.
instead of a half a Zell. Very good.
Right. So here with Philip Hoelzel, and he is the author of a couple of books, but the one we're going to talk about today is called SAMBA, the heartbeat of a community, and it's about Ailton Noon's musical journey. So you can already see that it's a perfect fit for PBJamz. So welcome, Philip. Super happy to have you with us today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really lovely. So a lot of times I'm scouting out Twitter or whatever, and I'm looking for new books that are coming out that have a musical connection. And that's what happened with this one. I saw it, I was like, oh, sounds like a good PBJam. So I contacted Philip and asked if he would come on. And so excited to talk about Samba. Let's talk first about what inspired this book. Like, why did you write about Samba and kind of how did this come to be?
Yeah, great question. So 20 years ago, I joined a group, a friend of mine, she played snare drum in high school, in her high school band, and she happened to be married to a Brazilian and saw this musical group in Austin, Texas, called the Austin Samba School, or Académicos da Ópera. And she said, I want to join, and you're joining with me. And so I had musical experience playing a little French horn, a little piano, of course, the recorder in grade school, sung in choir. So I said, sure, yeah, I'm game for this.
Yeah.
And not as much on the percussion side, but 20 years ago, I said yes, and I stuck with the group, and that's what got me into samba. And then the inspiration for it is the group here was it was an experiment to be a community group, see if it could replicate from Brazil to the United States, form a community. The community was the goal, and the byproduct is the music. And so the two worked really well together and fell in love with it. And I've been doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
And yeah, great time. Yeah. So that was the inspiration for thinking about it, because I had a favorite music teacher growing up, Mrs. Childress. Still remember her name. And both of her children have copies of this book at this point.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I made sure I found him and sent it and said, your mom was an inspiration to me. And she truly was. And so that's part of this. And then I got to know different people throughout. We would bring directors up to the Samba School from Brazil.
Oh,
And they would teach us, like, these are professionals. So as it was explained to me, the folks that were coming up were like the players and the coaches of the NFL, or National Football League of Samba, like the Group A. These folks were coming up and teaching us exactly what they're doing in Brazil. So we try to mimic exactly what they do. So, and one of those folks was Ailton Nunes. And so I got to know him and his story, and I was like, wow, I never learned about samba in grade school. And I thought, well, there's a gap here. And so let's see if we can make the two things work together and introduce kids a little earlier in life to samba and Brazilian percussion.
love it. So a couple of connections. I just want to just do some shout outs. Number one, I love when people say, hey, my music teacher inspired, or any teacher, but especially right now, music teachers. So shout out to all the music teachers out there. We do what we do, and it's so nice when it connects with somebody. So that's just super fabulous. And also, like, brass players unite, because I'm a trumpet player myself. So love hearing the French horn was one of your entry points for music as well. So super fun. And yeah, so and I love that. Well, also like just a friend kind of drug you into this, and like everybody needs a good friend like that that'll drag you into
Yeah.
something that you never
Yeah.
expected, right? But it becomes
Yeah. Out of the blue.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Love that you're still playing with them. That is super, super cool. Very nice. And so usually my next question is, so where's the music? Kind of like the old 80s commercial, where's the beef? We go, where's the music? But obviously, and we have already started talking about this, but
Yeah.
let's dig a little deeper into where the music is in this story and how it connects and how it plays into this book of Samba.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here.
right.
Yeah. So, in the book, most children enjoy music in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And that was it for Ailton. And so I wanted to share his story because the music in it is everybody has a dream. A lot of folks have a dream when they're little and they get into it, but they want to continue. And how does that work? And a lot of folks want to be a rock star or whatever it may be there, or be the guitarist. Maybe Slash is their person,
Right.
or you never know.
Never
Or
know.
we could get into the horns players, but I only know some from a long time ago, Mangione and
Oh yeah.
different folks, and yeah,
Hmm.
and so that's in the story itself. Um, see, how do I best get here to unpack this for you, for the audience? But it's really through Ailton in the story, and what he's doing, and a lot of it is like he makes his own music in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so there are instruments around you. It could be railings, it could be glasses
Mhm.
filled with water, it could be a piece of paper and a comb.
Right.
And so really I want to show that because the kids made their own instruments in the story, because they couldn't afford them, the professional instruments, and say they made their own and they made their own music.
Hmm.
And I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this section where you were talking about that very thing. You said it was not a rich neighborhood, not everybody had electricity. You end up that paragraph with, but they had samba. And like that was,
Right.
that was kind of the lifeblood of that community. And I
Mhm.
think that's so true for so many of our communities. Like and maybe not as much anymore, but maybe, like music was the thing that helped them through the difficult times or, the poverty or the not having enough or the not being respected or whatever. And a lot of them did turn to music. So I love that. Um,
Wonderful way to connect. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it really is.
And I
Um,
could tell you that a Brazilian friend of mine here, when she saw the illustration in the book of the folks sitting on the roof with a guitar and a drum and playing music, she said that's exactly what happens in Brazil, or folks will get together on a rooftop and just play music and be together and play music. And it doesn't, not a professional setting. They're just bonding together over this music, like many parts of the world where folks get together and sing.
yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Brazilian jam session.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool. Um, so much music in here. Yeah, I love them creating their own instruments. And I was curious if you've heard of the book Building an Orchestra of Hope. Do you know that book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in that book, they it was the landfill and they took the instrument that this village was on the landfill. They took the trash literally out of the landfill and they used it to build their own instruments. And that was also a South American story. So lots of nice connections there. But that'd be a
Yes.
great companion book actually to yours. If you
Uh-huh.
want to do a little companion thing, that would be a great one. Um,
Yeah. Is that Donna, or no, is that Carmen Oliver?
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's in Austin as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was one of
Yeah.
my first teachers
Oh,
on
really?
writing. Yeah.
Really love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on the show back way back, and I that one has really stuck with me. I love that story. But I did make that connection when they were making their own instruments in this poverty, community and poverty. So a lot of connections there that you guys could make if you ever wanted to do something together.
Yeah.
Um, Yes. So, is there anything that you would like to? I know you and I were talking before we got official. Is there anything you would like to tell us about the journey of this book, or either the writing journey or the journey to publication? Either. Is there anything you'd like to share about either of those?
Oh, let's see here. So this was book number two, but they all have their own life to them.
Yep.
So, yep, they all take their own form. And so the journey on this book, there was a lot of, it took time. So I got to know Ailton, I think it was 2012 was when I first met him in 2012, and they had just won Best Bateria in the Rio Carnival. And he came up here and it's like, wow, we have a big deal in house here at rehearsal. And so I got to know him there, and I posed the idea later when I started writing officially in like 2015,
Hmm.
taking classes, working on it. I knew children's picture books, but how? And so then I got to know him, and I said, "Would you be interested?" Ask for permission. He is a
Right.
public figure, but I always ask for permission, and some folks have told me no. He said yes. He thought it was a wonderful idea.
Uh-huh.
Uh, then he wanted to share his experience on that. So it took several years of a little bit of back and forth and asking questions to sort of pull the information about his childhood
Hmm.
and what his childhood was like, because very different from my childhood. His
Right.
childhood, there was no running water in the house. You went to a central place in the neighborhood to get the water and you brought it back. And so he taught me a lot about what instruments were out there, how he recounted the story about using wheat glue in order to make the drum heads with the paper. So that was wonderful
Yeah.
that he told those stories. And so it took multiple sessions of asking questions and formulating the story on that journey. And then, I was lucky enough. There were a couple of editors that were interested in adding samba out there because it's outside of just Carnival on TV. Folks aren't as familiar with the music, so I thought it was great to that little cultural element there.
Yeah, it's going to be perfect. I know a lot of music teachers. This I do a theme every year, and my theme this year is music around the world. So this is timely for me. So you can be guaranteed that this will be in my work this year with my students. I love sharing cultural music with my kids. And actually, I was just thinking another book series that you might not know. Although you might, Aventura's, Delia Ruiz. Do you know Delia?
I don't.
So Delia, I think it may not be Texas, it may be California. She's out west somewhere. She did a board book series about Latin music, particularly dance, and samba is one of her little board books. And so you might check that out as well. Not so much as a companion, but just that you might just want to know it's out there and be able to recommend it maybe for kids, for families or teachers that teach younger like younger kids than me, like preschool, because they're bored.
Yeah,
But so I do think it's cool that a lot of people are bringing some of this cultural music more to the forefront than it ever has been before. Really important. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through
yeah.
as we're talking, looking at it again. I read it again
You're
last
good.
night,
You're
but
you're
yeah,
good. And I was
yeah.
thinking on Delia, did she do one on Selena? I
She
can't remember. So I may be familiar with her, but just through the titles and don't remember the name.
Yeah, she may have. I know she's done some other books. Um, she uh Pandero beat oh my gosh, it's a little frog, Cokies. No, Roki's Roki's Pandero B was her first book, I think. I think she
Okay.
published that one. And then she's done quite a few since then. But she's been on a couple of times, one with Roki and then one with her little board book series. I think there's either three or four in
Okay.
that series. There's like Cumbia and Samba and another one or two that I can't think of at the moment. But it's a sweet little board book series. It's just very beginning, getting them into the Samba rhythms
Yes.
and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So really, really great. My only connection to Samba is watching Dancing with the Stars. That's as far as I can possibly take it.
Okay. Yeah. Most folks, when I say samba, they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, you're samba, so you dance." I
yeah,
said, "Well, I do percussion. I can
right,
do the dance portion, not like Dancing with the Stars. That's
right.
a whole different version of it." Yeah.
Of course,
And
yeah.
yeah, so it's been
Yeah.
fun to learn a little bit of the dance side of things too,
Yeah, that's fabulous
as
and
well as the
fun.
percussion, because the school I'm in, I don't know if it maybe I don't know the exact number right now, but I know we've been at least at 100 people in the organization.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play with so many people
Yeah.
from all walks of life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
really because music brings people together. You talked a lot,
exactly.
maybe before we got official, we were talking about community and music and how
Correct.
those two things just automatically come together. And I think that's really true in so many ways. Community is built around music, or music organically comes out of community. I think it works both ways.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you've probably already touched on this, but just so we've officially covered it,
Sure.
what do you when people read your book, especially when adults read this book to kids, like what is one thing, one big thing, or maybe it's a little tiny thing that you just really hope, like, man, I hope they don't miss this. I hope they get it and I hope they share it. What is that one thing?
Yeah, so that's on that. I To me, I want adults to know. So we talked about folks from all walks of life, and that you could make your own instruments, and you might not have a professional one. And I know that it can be expensive to rent instruments, or
Mhm.
rent or buy. And if a child is in music and they're interested in something, you can turn, like I've been plenty of cities where folks are playing buckets. And you're
Yeah.
like, those are the
Yeah.
best sounding buckets I've ever heard.
Right.
And so there are ways that you can do music. And I would want adults, when they're reading this, to know that if their child has an interest in music, but they might not be able to afford it, and they've checked out a book at the library or this book and they're reading it, that they're, entertain your child's interest. There's always a way to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And that will lead one thing to another. But I don't want the adults to miss that, like, oh, I don't think I can afford this. Let's just keep my child away from music. Embrace it. Let's figure out a way to make the music happen. And it may not be in the traditional sense of making music happen. And
Yeah.
so I think that's sort of a takeaway for adults in here. And maybe the kids see that first over the adults. We'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that's the big one for me.
Uh-huh.
When reading this book, would say that's pretty universal,
Yeah.
um,
Totally.
to everybody. That there's possibility of just making the music on your own, and then you can reach for it, just like in the book. The
Yeah.
families borrowed from the Samba school, which is how we do it here. You don't even need to own your own drum here in Austin. You just borrow it, and it's loaned from the school to you.
Nice.
And you don't even have to have experience. We'll teach you.
Yeah.
And so, same thing here is you might be able to, school may have one that you can borrow, check out, and check back in.
Mm.
Or, as you mentioned, the orchestra down in I believe it was
Yes,
Paraguay.
it was.
And, they made the instruments, ingenuity in the neighborhood. And they
Yeah.
talked about actually a professional instrument was a liability,
Right.
because
Right.
it might put you in danger or be
Right.
stolen or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of ways to achieve the music and get the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that message. That's so important. And I think it's also, it's true for your samba school. I think it's also true for public school. Like that's how I got access to music. When I
Hmm.
was growing up, we didn't have money for me to take piano lessons or anything like that. And so we had a piano that was given to us. And so I plucked away on that at home, but I didn't have the knowledge to go with it. And when I was in sixth grade and I was able to start in the band program, and it was a more affordable way going through the band. And I know our bands now, oftentimes there's kids who cannot afford instruments and they'll borrow one from the band
Hmm.
program. And so similarly to what you're talking about, like I think
Yeah.
there is so many different ways that you can get access, but even if not, you're exactly right. Like you can create your own instrument. Bucket drums are amazing, and there's so many like YouTube videos now. Like if your kid just is interested and they want to just explore, just get them a couple of um, wooden spoons and a
Yeah.
Home Depot bucket,
Right.
and take out some of those YouTube videos, and that's a
Yeah.
great way to get them started and see if it's something that they want to stick with, because that is something, sometimes it's a fad, kind of like
Sure.
me and the guitar, and that's still sitting down there and I haven't touched
Yeah.
it in a while, or the ukulele that I got at school and I was like, oh, I'm going to learn to play it this summer, and it's still in the box. Kind of like
Hmm. Yeah, experiment. I mean, encourage
yeah,
experimenting
exactly.
with music and instruments and what do
Exactly.
you like, and that all feeds in.
Right.
At least you have some. You could, even if you never follow it in its entirety, it's something that you might be able to relate to somebody else on, or know your world.
Know
Yeah,
your
experiment.
world. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and listening for that music out in the world, and replicating that however you can replicate it. Super important. Yeah.
yes.
So let's talk as we well, before I wrap up, let me just back up for
Okay.
a second and say, is there anything else that you would like to share that I haven't asked you about the book specifically?
Oh, let's see. Well, I've got accompanying for the book, some things coming out. Do you want to know that now or later?
Well, that's a perfect segue into the last question, which is what I was going to ask, is what's coming next, right? Like
Yes.
where are you going to be doing any signings or anything that you want to make us aware of? Or are there other books down the pipeline coming? And I do
Yeah.
think you have some supplemental resources, so for sure
Right.
share that. Yeah.
Yeah, so supplemental resources. I'm working with the lead music teacher for a school district here in Central Texas who happens to be in the Samba school, and
Awesome.
she teaches Samba in the classroom and has made a simplified version. She's written out the notation, so I have notation and a
Very
lesson
cool.
plan, and it's the lesson plan is using traditional instruments found in classrooms. There's no purchasing having to be made of the professional instruments. One, cost. Two,
Right.
storage, because
Yeah.
they can be large instruments.
Yeah.
And so just to get it started for the kids. And so simplified version where like first, second grade can implement it,
Very
and
nice.
using the various instruments and, finding the beat and where it
Yeah.
is, and, and the quarter notes and keeping the quarter notes and working on that.
Yeah.
And then playing several different instruments at the same time. And so that'll be up with notation and a lesson plan. So that'll be up on my website, hopefully in the next 60 days, we'll
Excellent.
say.
Yeah.
And then Ailton has so kindly agreed, and we'll hopefully this will all work out for him to cut some tracks of the same music played, so the notation, but with the same music played on the professional instruments, and he'll do that down in Brazil. So you can hear the classroom instrument version and the professional instrument version and how they sound together. So that's coming, and I'm very excited about that, to make it easier to integrate or at least attempt
Yeah.
samba in the classroom. So very excited about that, and my friend Elizabeth is super excited as well. So that to be able to contribute to this, spread the samba love,
Spread the
and
samba love. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I do not have any book signings coming up, Currently, I'm always up for doing school visits. I've done some for book one. This book came out in the summertime, so it was less heralded. Everybody was on vacation when this one came out, but I'm excited to do school visits for this one. And in the pipeline, I have things with my agent and lots of hopes out there, but nothing in the pipeline beyond her yet, but lots of ideas.
Of course.
So lots of ideas and lots of manuscripts written.
Yeah.
And as I've read from other authors, there's a whole sort of graveyard of manuscripts that live out there and maybe 10% that hit published. So
yeah, I've been listening to I don't know if you're familiar with You May Contribute a Verse podcast by Josh Munkin and Brenna Jenrette. Do you ever listen to them?
I haven't, no.
So it's a really cool podcast. They usually last around an hour, and they interview, authors, mostly authors, sometimes agents or editors, people in the industry. But one of the things they've done recently is they've asked people to share their dead manuscripts, those ones
Oh,
like you're talking about that, like they just get to a place where this is not going anywhere,
yeah.
So that's been super fun. I was just listening to one yesterday and they were sharing their dead manuscript, which was, super fun. So yeah, we all have those. And we always have things that are out and big hopes and big dreams. So
Yeah.
we will cross our fingers for those. But speaking of school visits, guys,
Yes.
Philip has generously offered that as his giveaway prize for this episode. So if you would like for him to zoom into your classroom, come in virtually and do a school visit with your kids about samba, and this picture book biography or the musical part of it, just all you got to do is leave a comment below. Like, it's super easy. That's all you got to do. We'll draw a winner. I'll connect you and Philip, and you guys can work out all the details for him to zoom into your school and have your very own book reading or whatever you two work out for your virtual school visit. So that's a way you can get him into your classroom and it won't even cost you anything. So leave a comment below and we would love to get you connected so that you can get him into your school. And if you want him in your school and you don't win, then you can always reach out to him on his website and reach out about those school visits that he would very much like to do. And I guess you're willing to do virtual as well as in-person
Oh, yeah.
visits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So reach out to him on his website. I'm going to link all that below, like I always do. All of his links where you can buy the book, all that'll be down below. And you know that next week I'm going to also add in a lot of teaching ideas myself for ways that you can use this book in the general education classroom as well as in the music classroom. And for those of you who are my writer friends, Philip is going to share with you maybe 3 to 5 of his very best writing tips, and those will be in the episode as well. So check all that out. And then, there's going to be a YouTube playlist because that's how I roll, and a Pinterest board because my husband says I am the queen of Pinterest. So I'm going to collect a whole bunch of cool ideas for ways that you can integrate this book into your classroom, whether you're in the music classroom or the regular ed. And if you're a family, I mean, still, this still works, or preschool, or, wherever you are, an after school program. Like, there's so many ways that you can use these books and just share them with kids. And like Philip said, like, we just need to know that music is accessible. And if you don't have instruments, there are other ways that it is accessible. So share, spread the samba love, as he says. And as you're doing that, be sure to leave him a review if you do read this book and love it. We always love seeing reviews on Amazon, first of all, because it really helps their algorithm. It boosts them in the ratings, boosts them and allows Amazon to then recommend them to other people that might enjoy this book. So Amazon is prime important. Also, Goodreads and Barnes and Noble are great places to leave reviews. But on PBJamz, we always say the best thing you can do is to share by word of mouth. So if you know somebody who enjoys samba or anything that might relate to this book, then just tell them, say, hey, I saw this cool episode of PBJamz about this book about samba, and I just thought you might be interested in it. So share that out. Buy it for your music teacher at your school. That'd be a great gift for Christmas coming up before we know it, knocking on the door. Good grief. The time is going by so fast, but that's another great way that you could utilize this book as well. Be a great gift for your music teacher, or really any teacher. So anything else you'd like to add, Philip, before we close out this episode?
Oh, there's one thing that I failed to mention.
Yeah.
Ailton does teach virtually, and he
Oh,
does speak English. He grew up no English, all Portuguese. He speaks English. He's traveled to I think he's been to Finland and England, and yeah, he's been all over the world. And if you read the book and you look at the lesson plans and you're like, this is what I like, and I think I want to know more about this, I can leave some information for you here where you'd be able to reach Ailton through like WhatsApp or something like that. But he does teach students from all over the United States virtually. So if there's a music teacher in the audience who wants to know more, he's a really super kind, gentle person. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about, and he's kind, and he's forgiving, and he knows how to take people from where they're at and move them to the next level. So I recommend it. I've taken lessons with him. So
yeah.
That would be the one thing that I would like to add to this.
Okay, perfect. And if you want to share any of his information, I can add that into the episode, Philip. So just shoot that to me in an email. That'd be great. And so we'll link some of that up for you all down below. My tongue got tangled there for a second. So yeah, that would be fabulous. How fun is that? So check out all the good stuff that's in the episode. Share the book, do the reviews, all the things. And thank you, Philip, for being here. It's been such fun talking with you about samba.
It's been wonderful. Thank you for having me. This has been great. I love this conversation.
Yeah. It's always good when we can talk music and books with friends. Like that's just the best. That's just the best.
Two good things mixed together.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like butter and jam. I'm just saying. That's how it all started. So thank you guys for joining us for this episode of PBJamz. And I sure do hope we'll see you next time. Until then, have a great evening. Bye.
PBs all the time, PBJamz, songish books and bookish songs, tips for music teachers.